Isaiah chapter 58 and verse 1. Cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions, and the house of Jacob their sins.
Copyright disclaimer. This content does not belong to Bible Chronicles or claim this intellectual property. The content provided today has and always will belong to the content owner. Bible Chronicles does not have any affiliation with the owner of this property. As mentioned, Bible Chronicles did not intend to make use of any material for the purpose of harvesting gain. However, Title 17 of United States copyright law states material and use can only be done when it's for theological or general educational purposes, and thus Bible Chronicles believes that this principal material falls under fair use, which honors protection under Section 107 of the same U.S. copyright law.
Every man's heart one day beats its final beat. His lungs breathe their final breath. And if what that man did in his life makes the blood pulse through the body of others, it makes them bleed deeper in something than larger than life, then his essence, his spirit, will be immortalized.
You think you know me?
Entering the ring like a heavyweight champion, legendary king like my name is Fred Hampton. Vision of a sniper, Taino in my fibers. I can see the truth, no Roddy Piper. Black brown messiah, one-on-one with the colonizer. Ropes on fire, tombstone power driver. Disciples assemble in Mayan symbols deciphered. Sacred prayers delivered, fulfill fate's desires. As the crowd gets louder, feels wild nostalgic. Lift them up, gorilla press, fearless as a falcon. Catch the BX live on BBC. That's when I hit 3DTs with DDTs. El Patron without Patron. For sovereignty, we work hustles and cross the border like take on a turnbuckle. Hit him with a spear, then a chair, let him chair. Administer my finisher, the signature, and it's severe.
Yeah. Check.
You think you know me?
Abysmal with a pistol, execute corporates in front of poverty. I mean, lyrically, I'm twisted, sea demon, heretic, embellishing the savagery repeatedly. Stabbing chest cavity, I run with the spirits, they burn at the stake. Curse you until death, like Hod's way. We build raw, ambush, mercenary convoys. Fallujah, oh forward, I'm on boy. Fuck Judge Dredd, leave a judge dead. Break down gates of heaven, leave them all red. Yes, the rhythm, the rebel. B-boy, changing levels, shooting for a double. Like a barrel, leave them riddled, let the rodents fiddle. In your vicinity, public enemies smashing. Burn it all down, see what grows from the ashes.
Native threat, KF. Hell yeah, they don't know what time it is. Yeah, get this shit.
You think you know
The
me?
first infinite earth resistance grew out the 818 with persistence. Bruise to the hate they throw with my mission. Born to flip what they did with theirs. I'm only mad cause I care. I'm only mad cause I know what's out there. And it ain't fair. They grab a mask and a spear. I'm unattached to the fear. Fuck I look like sipping on a colonizer beer. Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. Talking about a virus, y'all act like you got closed eyelids. And what I find is, they don't know what the time is. I'm an ancestor, I am timeless. I look within and the answers I find them. I'm not lost, I know the cost. Robbery is harm to me. I'm Undertaker, choke slam the boss. Leave you hung in the ring, I don't give a fuck. And that's what's up, to the day I'm done. Cause no one
Escape death. Death's got these focus all around us. And the ancestors are with us. So Hawan, put your feathers on and let them know what's up.
You think you know
This
me?
is Danza Azteca ceremony on the campus by the marigold flowers is where we lead the dances. I'm at war with Anglo-Saxons and our weapons have landed. Pre-Hispanic savage, turn them Yankees into ashes. It's revenge for the sanctions that they put on Venezuela. En el Tahuantín suyo, el cóndor vuela. Plumas tied to the blower from a scarlet ibis. My medicine bag carries dreams inside it. Flower making preparation for the day of the dead. The reputation of my nation's what I swore to defend. The promise of death is what the mask represents. The liquor isn't needed to put me at ease. You can't wear my mascara, it belongs to a king. Yo, I was taught to love the US, I was raised a little different. I was taught to keep the fucking colonizers to a distance. Them gringo spies wanna know who sent us. You'll have to take my life before you take my feathers.
I'm wide, I'm out on bail. The sheriffs try to unmask me. Sister in arms, Frosty. Talk to him, hermana.
You think you
Ain't
know
got
me?
no papers for you to funnel me into your system. Assimilate my soul to psychological prison. Fuck your religion and all the blood on its hands. Your secret cemeteries where the spirits still dance. They offered money for our heads, put targets on our backs. So we lived in the shadows, whispering plans of attack. We withdraw, you react. A gabacho gets slapped. Step back, motherfucker, you don't know me like that. This is my form of decreement of broken social agreements. You baby bloodsucking leeches, pervert political leaders. Sinning as hard as the preachers. Only God can judge how your heart full of hate, but your mouth speaking love. I don't need to go to heaven, see I'm calling all your bluff. Maybe we can stop pretending, see my people had enough. Yes, all one love, but you still gotta duck. Better watch the way you move before they get you with the
Yeah, that's right. Women are freedom fighters too. Navy Jones, you know what the fuck to do.
You think you know me?
Ooh, it's Mr. Diamond Moolah with the dirty ruga. Yo soy boricua, still a nigga with a sick medulla. My skin's a sin, the Jakes be trying to genocide. A real nigga, and I say that with pride. This is it, boy. The new age revolution fighters get a grip, boy. Shooting in and out the gym, the clips don't miss, boy. I'm moving stealth like a real shooter. Might drop a bomb on a border wall abuser. Unify the people with pride and Fred Hampton. Climbing up a ladder, took an axe to my stanchion. Didn't know that I would bounce back deadly fashion. Mask on stash shit, pistol blast and passion. They say you could be anything that you put your mind to, but mind you, since the boat had a mouth full of swan dude. Jagganator coming through like Macho Man and UT. With a Booker T, you cross us wrong, you go 6 feet.
Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, is that Who's that, Rex? Okay, let's go. Yeah, Rex. Check these motherfuckers out here.
You think you know me?
Don't bother Rex, rip your heart from your chest. You want pain? Well then I leave my name carved in your flesh. They say sleep is the father of death. Why would you bother the best? I keep a bag of tools, carpenter vet. I clothesline, so I just slaughter the rest. Dinos and Aztecs, blast text if I send out this mass text. I fight sobriety, mass stress. I'm trying to move the culture forward. Conscious aura, death to who came before us. In blood I paint the forest, then cover my face, absorb it. Feel the torment of my bloodline. Sacrificed, I'm a martyr, free Palestine. And if the media too promotes slander, that's what the media do. Instead of exposing the truth, we get shot and killed, controlled like a zoo. But let nationalists march the Capitol holding the noose. I lace my boots and prepare for the rivalry. The spirit's inside of me, guiding me. Man, they gotta be the God of me.
Hey yo, Jag, Dre, I see the play. Building an army of indigenous snipers. Salute to the comrades. Azomali, talk to them.
You think you know me?
Phonetic aggression, poetic aggressor. My sharpened bone helped me pass through the metal detector. When I die, I hope the flowers in the ghettos connect us. So you'll be lost in the puddle of ancestral nectar. Listen, the mangoes grow in the ground that I walk on. My battle scars now have became my sakya. Carrying my lyrics like I turned to an Oscar. You can meet me somewhere in the middle of Aslan. The Molotov cocktail, we're hating the cop car. Whether you're screaming Omidale or Allahu Akbar. When I'm coming to kill you, believe it or not spar. Whether you hit the right jab or down with the southpaw. Keep going, we live inside a world that's without stars. Clouds fall, the joust tears going all out war. Why you think I keep the mask inside of the house for? What you know about less in the day in the outdoors? Pulling with the mask and I feel like I'm Jack Raw.
Manifest destiny. I'm your enemy, your natural enemy. Manifest destiny. We are your enemies, your natural enemies, your natural enemies, your natural enemies, your natural enemy.
Del mar los vieron llegar, mis hermanos emplumados serán los hombres barbados de la profecía esperada. Se oyó la voz del monarca de que el Dios había llegado y les abrimos la puerta por temor a lo ignorado. Iban montados en bestias como demonios del mal, iban con fuego en las manos y cubiertos de metal. Solo el valor de unos cuantos les opuso resistencia, y al mirar correr la sangre se llenaron de vergüenza, porque los dioses ni comen ni gozan con lo robado. Y cuando nos dimos cuenta, ya todo estaba acabado, y en ese error entregamos la grandeza del pasado, y en ese error nos quedamos 300 años esclavos. Se nos quedó el maleficio de brindar al extranjero nuestra fe, nuestra cultura, nuestro pan, nuestro dinero, y le seguimos cambiando oro por cuentas de vidrio, y damos nuestras riquezas por sus espejos con brillo. Hoy, en pleno siglo XX, nos siguen llegando rubios y les abrimos la casa y los llamamos amigos. Pero si llega cansado un indio de andar la sierra, lo humillamos y lo vemos como extraño por su tierra. Hipócrita que te muestras humilde ante el extranjero, pero te vuelves soberbio con tus hermanos del pueblo. Oh, maldición de Malinche, enfermedad del presente, ¿cuándo dejarás mi tierra? ¿Cuándo harás libre a mi gente?
Viene a decirnos con mucha firmeza y gran convencimiento lo mismo que nos decía en el siglo XVIII el barón de Holbach, ¿no? Un filósofo francés de origen alemán. Si nos remontamos al comienzo, entonces hallaremos que la ignorancia y el temor crearon a los dioses. La fantasía, el entusiasmo o el engaño los adornaron o desfiguraron. La debilidad les rinde culto, la credulidad los conserva, la costumbre los respeta y la tiranía los apoya para que la ceguera de los hombres sirva a sus propios intereses.
Testing 1, 2, 3. I think this works. I actually think this is working. Give me a second. There's a way that. Well, maybe that's not the way. I always have trouble with this part here. Can't seem to figure it out. Whatever. Good. All right, man. What we got going on here? What's up, Joe? Shalom, brother. Shalom. Europeans will never be American. What up, bro? Right, that's the question. Hey, get out of his way. You know, it's so funny that you mentioned that because, actually, that you have that title as a name, because that is the only thing that they can hold on to. If you really think about it, ask them. They'll even tell you they have no idea what their origin is. They're German, French, Dutch, Austrian, Russian. You know. So, matter of fact, we're going to touch on that. Interestingly enough. So I put together something interesting for you, brothers, man, and sisters. I hope you can appreciate this. I'm gonna give you a little glimpse of something here real quick. I downloaded that crap. Okay, anyways, so while I look for this other video, let's start off with this. And shalom, everybody. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Yeah, I do have people watch this channel from other places across the world. So I do say that. Anyways, let's start off with this, fam. I got this little thing called Lost History. We're going to start with this. Just my point of view of something. You know how I do sometimes these classes. I'm going to show you some videos, put some scripture and some history books, and then we'll finish it off. All right. I'm trying to keep my classes, or like Chicloso likes to call it, show, for a minimum of 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to ride for about 2 hours. All right, let's go.
Believe that when you honor God on Passover, starting on April 12th at sundown through Good Friday on the 18th and concluding on Easter Sunday, you can receive these 7 supernatural blessings for you and your house. According to Exodus 23, God will assign an angel to you. He'll be an enemy to your enemies. He'll give you prosperity. He'll take sickness away from you. He will give you long life.
Pause. Now, I just want to make something clear, and you're going to find out how you can get a hold of all of these wonderful, because this stuff real. God
to your enemies. He'll give you for you and your house. According to Exodus 23, God will assign an angel to you. He'll be an enemy to your enemies. He'll give you prosperity. He'll take sickness away from you. He will give you long life. He'll bring in.
Sorry, fam. I guess I did something weird, but anyways, that was one of the videos. All right, so I think I might have messed up. The idea was, here, let me just go raw on the video just so you guys can see it, okay? So this is the concept.
You can receive.
For your special Passover offering of $1,000 or more as the Holy Spirit leads, you will also receive the beautiful 10-inch Waterford Crystal Cross. Don't miss your moment to release 7 supernatural blessings and provision into your life.
And I believe that
there you go, ladies and gentlemen. For $1,000, you can get your enemies to be the enemy of God as well. Now, I
believe that when you honor God on
that's the concept that this lady was selling, right? That's the concept. Okay, so let me just kind of go back to this now. The video that I have here,
what you can receive.
For your special,
I don't know why it's going this short. So she starts here, and this is like this is I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the MAGA chick, the Christian evangelical on Trump's cabinet. Okay, so this is a commercial. I think this is illegal, to be honest. Now, these are Christians, though. You know what I'm saying? So, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not lie. But again, thou shalt also not be Christian, but, you know, whatever. It doesn't matter. Let's go.
Believe that when you honor God on Passover, starting on April 12th at sundown.
Because that's what we're talking about right now, right? We're going to, We'll also see how the mentioning of Easter and where it comes from too. Remembrance of a particular lost history, because that's the concept.
Through Good Friday.
My bad. Because they having Easter Sunday, aren't they having that this weekend? Right. So remember, lost history. Okay. So let's continue.
On the 18th and concluding on Easter Sunday, you can receive these 7 supernatural blessings for you and your house. According to Exodus 23, God will assign an angel to you. He'll be an enemy to your enemies. He'll give you prosperity. He'll take sickness away from you. He will give you long life. He'll bring increase.
See? Oh, you see all of that right there? Somebody explain to me this thing. So you're saying that with this, whatever you're doing, 7 blessings of Passover, according to Exodus 23, assign an angel to you, be an enemy to your enemies. Isn't that like anti-Jesus, the way that you guys teach it? Anyhow, give you prosperity. Again, there goes that prosperity doctrine. Take sickness away. Give you long life. Cause increase for you. A special year of blessing, they say. Okay, let's continue.
I want to make something clear, and you're going to find out how you can get a hold of all of these wonderful.
He'll give you for you and your house. According to Exodus 23, God will assign an angel to you. He'll be an enemy to your enemies. He'll give you prosperity. He'll take sickness away from you. He will give you long life. He'll bring increase in inheritance, and he'll give a special year of blessing. You're not doing this to get something, but you're doing it in honor to God, realizing what you can receive.
For your special Passover offering of 1,000.
You see what I'm saying right there? Oh, come on, man. Hey, come on, man. This gotta be funny. Come on, man. You gotta give me some. So you gotta give 1,000 at least. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, listen, you get 1,000, you get 7 blessings. You get less than 7 than 1,000, you probably get like maybe 3 blessings. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro. What the hell's going on here?
Oh, that's gonna hurt!
Anyway, so this is kind of the Christian thing. But let's continue. Let's see what else it says.
$1,000 or more as the Holy Spirit leads. You will also receive the beautiful 10-inch Waterford crystal cross. Don't miss your moment to release 7 supernatural blessings and provision into your life.
And I believe that
there you go, ladies and gentlemen, for $1,000.
Hey, but by the way, it says that you get water too. That shit was the funny part, that you actually get water. You get water. Now, this is the funny part about lost history. Okay, but this is the interesting part about current history that still reflects of lost history, and I'm going to show you how. Okay, let's continue.
Mike, I've never called for lava to rain down from the heavens, but maybe upon Washington, D.C. Would you be that sweet red hot lava for us?
I've never been called sweet, and you call me Sweet Ginger, so I think I meant then. During my 3-week reign of terror as Trump acting Attorney General, before I get chased out of town with my Trump pardon, I will rain hell on Washington, D.C. We've talked about this, Ben. I have 5 lists ready to go, and they're growing. List number 1, we're going to fire. We're going to fire a lot of people in the executive branch, the deep state. Number 2, we're going to indict. We're going to indict Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and James Biden and every other scumball, sleazeball Biden, except for the 5-year-old granddaughter who they refused to acknowledge for 5 years until the political pressure got to Joe Biden. Number 3, we're going to deport. We're going to deport a lot of people, 10 million people and growing, anchor babies, their parents, their grandparents. We're going to deport. We're going to deport a lot of people, 10 million people and growing, anchor babies, their parents, their grandparents. 3, we're going to deport. We're going to deport a lot of people, 10 million people and growing, anchor babies, their parents, their grandparents. We're going to put kids in cages. It's going to be glorious. We're going to detain a lot of people in the D.C. Gulag and Gitmo. And list number 5, I'm going to recommend a lot of pardons. Every January 6th defendant is going to get a pardon, especially my hero Hornman. He is definitely at the top of the pardon list.
We actually went out.
Yeah, so Sweet Cheeks is going to, go deporting and shit. It's really more the tone, and I'm gonna tell you this right now. The more often they say terrorist, illegal aliens are terrorists because supposedly they're part of a gang, it only opens the door to be treated like what they've been practicing across the seas. Okay, that's a fact. Hey, what's up, brother? Good to have you here, bro. And Sunday Easter is also a Mustache Man's birthday. Mustache Man's birthday. Interesting. Never looked at it that way. I will Google it probably later. I do want to share this with you because everything matters. And again, this is the topic: lost history. We don't ignore history. We're not afraid of history, nor do we. Hold on a sec. What's going on here? How come it does that? Huh? That's weird. That's not how I had it. Well, anyways, that's awkward. But anyways, we don't ignore history. I just find this very interesting, and I think I shared this with y'all. But I was in another class. Here it goes. Right here. Check this out.
Hitler ascended to the chancellorship. He didn't seize power. It was given to him by a very Christian electorate who declared him in 1933 to be a gift and miracle from God.
This is like what I say, lost history. I mean, don't we hear this shit today? Don't they say this about this dude? Again, lost history from a nation who apparently now has a problem with taught history if it's not of their preference. I mean, I really don't know how else to put it.
And I remember quite well, when I was being trained as a minister, we were told never prepare a sermon without consulting the Dictionary of New Testament Theology, edited by Gerhard Kittel, a good German evangelical Bible scholar. Nobody ever told me that Gerhard Kittel was Adolf Hitler's resident theologian that gave him the theological justification for genocide.
Do you guys understand what that is just basically saying? Here we see that if you were a pastor and you were about to give a sermon, you had to reflect on that sermon based on the book that this man wrote, who was also an evangelical, who was also I guess you could put it, Fourth Reich. That's it. They want to bring in a 1,000-year reign of peace. Now, I find it interesting, though, because that's that 1,000-year thing. I do bring up a point. Let's continue.
Why did
bring up a point? So I'm glad you mentioned it.
Didn't we ever know that one of the theologians we consulted most often justified genocide? Boy, that was an eye-opener.
That was an eye-opener. Let me look this guy up so I can show you guys. He's talking about this man here. Okay. Gerhard Kittel. Born 1888, 1948. A German Lutheran theologian and lexicographer of biblical languages. Biblical languages. He was an enthusiastic supporter of Nazis, like Atska Nazis, and an open anti-Semite. It's funny because, anyways, that's a different topic. He is known in the field of biblical studies of his theological dictionary of the New Testament. You see this? Here is a reference to this. The theologian in the Third Reich. This right here is a excellent book to read, fam. Right there. If I were you, I would Google that and see if you can get it on a PDF. This is very interesting because it's reflecting on history. Because this is what we do. We study history with the scriptures. Okay? So now, we're talking about a man or a nation of people that had mentioned, considered, or even have practiced genocide, 1492. Now, most mention the so-called Holocaust in about less than 100 years ago, right? But they don't care about this other one.
And on June 4th,
again, remember what I said. Remember what we just saw. We just saw German Christians supporting Hitler. Let's go.
1946, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God gave us Trump. God said, I need somebody willing to get up before dawn, fix this country, work all day, fight the Marxists, eat supper, then go to the Oval Office and stay past midnight at a meeting of the heads of state. So God made Trump. I need somebody with arms, strong enough to rustle the deep state, and yet gentle enough to deliver his own grandchild. Somebody to ruffle the feathers, tame cantankerous World Economic Forum, come home hungry, have to wait until the First Lady is done with lunch with friends, then tell the ladies to be sure and come back real soon, and mean it. So God gave us Trump.
I cannot get over that shit, man. I kid you not. That to me, it's just amazing that when you look at it from a normal human perspective, this shit is really wicked, weird. When you use the scriptures, you really know, like, damn. And then it guides you to put you in certain books. And then all those books explain to you, like, what are these people? Why these people are thinking the way they're thinking. So let's continue with this real quick. I'm going to show you something too.
Every great journey begins with a single step.
Sorry, I don't.
And that first step forward is where
the reason you.
I used to pay to exclude the commercials, but I ain't trying to do that. I don't go around asking for donations and shit. So you know what I'm saying. So anyhow, so we just saw Trump's bizarre "God Made Trump" campaign video, right? You guys saw that. Okay, now we're gonna see another Christian, so-called, famous, who they watch on TV. The same one that was videotaping the arrest of a so-called illegal, undocumented individual. Let's continue.
You think you were spared?
I mean, the only thing I can think is that God loves our country and he thinks we're going to bring our country back. He wants to bring it back. It's so bad right now what's happening when you look at the crime, the horrible things that are happening inside our country, and it can be solved. It can be solved fairly quickly. It has to be God. I mean, how can you say it's luck when it's, 20 million to 1, okay? I mean, it's just not possible that I was in that position. It's the only position where that bullet could have missed.
And you believe in God?
I do.
You believe God's hand was in this that day?
I believe so, yeah, I do.
And you talk about the country, you believe you have more to do. You weren't done. You were spared for a reason.
Well, God believes that, I guess. We'll have to see. I'm very honored by it. He's a very smart guy, a different kind of a guy, but very smart, loves our country, has some, I think, very good views on a lot of different things. And I've known him for a long time. We've been somewhat friendly, actually. And I think he's going to be a great asset. And will I have him in the administration? It's possible. We haven't really discussed that. But
You guys get the picture, man. You guys get the picture. Hey, God saved me so I could save America. Come on, man. You know what I mean? Come on, brothers. Give me a break. But you know what? They will believe it. So, as I was kind of taking some notes on this, class, so-called, or I guess presentation. I don't know what you guys want to call it. Edification. I'll say edification. That I was putting together. This scripture came to mind. I was reading a bunch of different things, but this one really, really is the one that mattered. Because this is something that I believe we're going through right now. Now, again, nobody knows exactly the time nor the day, and things always seem to be about to, and then they don't. So, give me a second, fam. My bad, real quick. So, shit, where did I leave off? Yeah. So, anyways, so as I'm kind of, I'm putting this, so-called class together and stuff, and I'm looking through the scriptures and reading different topics, different chapters too, just kind of running through my mind. But this really stood out to me. And a lot of times we see and hear these words, and we think we just kind of walk over them. But I want to share this with y'all, and maybe you can see what I see. Let's go to 2 Ezra chapter 9, verse 2. It says, "Then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore," here's the part, "when there shall be seen earthquakes." Most people say earthquakes, and then, what I mean? They read and they stick with earthquakes. But this part right here, "and uproars of the people in the war." Now, a lot of times we think uproar just means chaos. Uproar, it is also bitter wisdom. Uproar is also that scripture in the Ecclesiastes, oppression make it a wise man mad. Uproar. So now, why do I mean and point out this particular verse here, uproars of the people in the world? Because the more we understand, the more information has been provided to us, then you start seeing why you would feel the so-called quote unquote injustice. Verse 4, "Then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that they were before thee, even from the beginning. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world," because when you start seeing history for what it is, there's nothing else more than to share the history, to tell people exactly what the F happened. 2 Ezra 7 and 9, "And everyone that shall be saved shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, whereby ye have believed." Now, see, here we do see some things. I'm not going to stick too much into the whole faith and works part. I'm just telling you about the works that are required, the uproars, because you're fed up. You're like, man, fuck this shit. I mean, come on, bro. It is difficult to set aside when you know this much. And I'm telling you this from experience. And not only so, it's because of this as well. Okay? Verse 10, 2 Ezra 7, 2 Ezra 9, verse 10. Remember this: "For such as are in their life have received benefits and have not known me, and they that have loathed my law, while they had yet liberty, and when as yet place of repentance was open unto them, understood not, but despised it. The same must know it after death by pain." You think I want to feel that shit, man? So this is why I can see the concept of uproar. You see, when you start getting more understanding in this world, because scripture said that it would happen, that we would start learning about who we were, what occurred to us, and then the spirit would be moved. That's what I get. And we're not done. Now, the reason I say I took my time in this class is because I watched this video, and I thought it was very interesting. It was kind of long. Give me a second. It was kind of long, right? So I was trying to figure out a way where I can show y'all without having to watch the whole thing. And how do I incorporate that with, what I'm trying to show our people, right? Because that's the idea. This is my job at this point now.
What's up, my guy? What do you say we ditch the Stone Age and get you set up?
With sweep. Anyways, so what I found, and I hope you guys can appreciate this and appreciate this man's work. I don't know him. I don't know who he is.
Don't get a HELOC or refinance if you want to tap
up. All right, so here's what we got. Okay. This man here. Again, hold on. Let me go. Oh, shit, bro. Okay. The video is called, before I go wide, How the U.S. Inspired the Nazis from Manifest Destiny. Again, the point is lost history. Okay? Hold on a second. Wait, what up? What up, damn, bro? What up? My bad, bro. I didn't even see you. Uproar's calling shit out. Yeah, something like that. Ezekiel 33:6. Let me see what you got. Hold on. 33:6. But that's good. That's actually really good, bro. Yeah, you're right. But if the watchmen see the sword come and blow not the trumpet, when the people be not warned, if the sword come and take any person from among them, let me read it again. But if the watchmen see the sword come and blow not the trumpet, and the people be not warned, if the sword come and take any person from among them, he is taken away in his iniquity, but his blood will I require of the watchman's hand. You see? Well, that's a really good point, because that's one very important reason. I actually just, read it. You can't sit on this information too long, too much. Anyways, so this is called From Manifest Destiny to Leban's Realm. Okay, so he's comparing the situation between here and Gaza, or what's going on over there. Okay, but we're not going to watch the whole thing. We're not going to watch the whole thing. Promise you. So let's begin in this portion here. All right, I'll start here. He's got interesting information, and then I'm going to bring up my information as well. All right, let's continue. Let's go.
British colonization of North America dated back to the end of the 16th century. Within a little over 100 years, the British Empire had conquered, stolen, treated for, or bought almost all of the land on the East Coast and implanted their own settlers there. In many cases during this process, Indians were forced off their land through displacement or killing, but also in many others, the two groups managed to form a sort of uneasy coexistence with one another, avoiding large-scale violent conflict and instead engaging in mutually beneficial trade and cultural exchange. The British central government's main goal in its colonies was to maximize the extraction of wealth and other benefits for the mother country. Similar was also generally true in other large parts of North America, ruled by France and Spain, with whom the British often competed for dominion over Indian lands and alliances with Indian nations. But the British differed from the French and Spanish in one key way. These rivals populated their North American colonies with the bare minimum amount of Europeans needed to maintain and exploit them. The French were mostly interested in securing privileged access, instead engaging in mutually beneficial trade and cultural displacement. 100 years, the British Empire had conquered.
Sorry for all that. I want to bring up a point. You guys can see. Hold on, is this it? Hold on. I'm looking for the one that shows the 13 colonies. Anyways, so I'm not going to waste time trying to look for that. But you guys saw the video, the picture, where it had the 13 colonies, 1750 something. Okay. So the reason why I'm pointing this out is because not until 1810 was it officially more than 13 colonies. You guys understand that, right? So when you hear these white folks that are not from this continent talking about my ancestors built this country, what fucking part of the country? Talking about Boston, New York, Philadelphia? Because while you guys were over there migrating until 1800 and change, we were already here. It's not like this was all empty fucking sand land, like nothing built whatsoever. So up until 1810 were you guys officially expanding, technically speaking. But I just find it funny how you guys say my ancestors. That shit was about 150 years ago. That's like 4 or 5 grandparents before me, even though we've been here for a while. I'm just saying, you know. But let's continue.
Stolen, treated for, or bought almost all of the land on the East Coast and implanted their own settlers there. In many cases during this process, Indians were forced off their land through displacement or killing, but also in many others, the two groups managed to form a sort of uneasy coexistence with one another, avoiding large-scale violent conflict and instead engaging in mutually beneficial trade and cultural exchange. The British central government's main goal in its colonies was to maximize the extraction of wealth and other benefits for the mother country. Similar was also generally true in other large parts of North America, ruled by France and Spain, with whom the British often competed for dominion over Indian land.
That was the part that I was trying to get to. See that 13 colonies. 1753. Florida was part of Spain. France, Louisiana. Now, New France. Remember, keep in mind that our native brothers were up here still. They weren't kicked the fuck out. So this is why I trip out on you white folks that say, my ancestors built this country. Or some of you so-called African Americans that claim that we're not even here and that you guys built this country. I mean, if you guys were supposedly enslaved by these white folks only, right, because we know other history, then what the fuck happened over here? See, there's a lot of history that is not being really told. So we got to go and find it. And in this brushing away of bullshit, we find even more bullshit. But let's continue.
Lands and alliances with Indian nations. But the British differed from the French and Spanish in one key way. These rivals populated their North American colonies with the bare minimum amount of Europeans needed to maintain and exploit them. The French were mostly interested in securing privileged access to trade goods, while the Spanish wanted to lord over native populations, using them as a forced or cheap labor force to exploit local resources. However, the British Crown promoted larger-scale European migration and settlements, intending to extract benefits for the homeland by trading with, taxing, etc., their own settlers, who would...
Okay, I'm gonna let it run for a minute and 15, because at 8:15 is when I'm gonna pause it. In the meantime, I'm gonna run to the restroom. If I'm a little bit late, forgive me, please, if it runs a little extra, but I'm just, letting y'all know. Okay, let's go.
They exploit the land directly themselves, or through slaves. And due to their strength in numbers, they could also conquer, secure, and exploit much more land than their rivals, and were more capable of enforcing their territorial claims against these other European powers. Thus, European settlers flooded into British North America. By 1750, settlers in French North America numbered only about 75,000, while those in the British parts numbered around 1.5 million, despite the fact that the two powers claimed similarly large tracts of land. After the French and Indian War, which began in 1754 and ended in 1763, things changed drastically. The British won the war, and France relinquished many of their claims to the land west of Britain's East Coast colonies, though this was complicated by the fact that these claims were mostly theoretical. In actual practice, Native Americans still lived in and controlled practically all of this land, and had never remotely agreed to cede it, especially not all of it so completely. King George III, the monarch of the British Empire, was well aware of this. He knew that regardless of whatever pieces of paper he had that said that these lands were British, actually moving into them would immediately cause widespread conflict with the multiple Indian nations who lived there. So, tired of costly wars to defend white settlers, who had a habit of trying to steal Indian land, which
Passed a little bit. My bad. Anyway, so my bad. I didn't want it to go that far. Anyhow, so let me get to my point. And again, my apologies because I hate to walk away from the seat, man. Kind of throws me off a bit. Let's see where we're at. Okay, so let's go to. Oh, here goes the video right here. Hold on. So before I go here, I want to show you guys this real quick. Okay, because the whole point is lost history. And this lost history was not provided for us. You guys keep in mind that if they went all to the extremism, the authoritarianism, to deny the so-called scriptures, because apparently they thought that was so important to us that they had to keep it away. Now, that's just portion. Because that book is so important to them, quote unquote, right? They're Christians. Why not provide it for us? What else did they keep away from us? So now that we start finding out who we are, according to this book, and that's what I talk about, flowing of knowledge, where now it's in abundance. It's that time. The time is of essence. That's why in Ezekiel it talks about how the waters are going to raise. And those waters, that's that understanding, that history, that knowledge, that food, that good food, that good news, they call it, what we call it. Check this out.
So last night he used hymns. Honestly, nothing better.
Trump was asked if he'd rule out using military force to get control of Greenland and the Panama Canal, and Trump would not rule that out. How would acquiring that land help everyday Americans better afford their day-to-day expenses?
Well, first of all, Brianna, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. Listen, President Trump is bringing us into a golden age of America. This is the new manifest destiny, reacquiring the Panama Canal, acquiring Greenland, renaming the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. This is the light of America expanding. You know, we have a very clear strategic interest geopolitically, both in Greenland and in the Panama Canal. The Panama Canal, as you know, was created with the blood, toil, tears, and sweat of American citizens. We put an enormous amount of money into it. I don't think we ever should have relinquished control of the Panama Canal.
Number one, does anyone remember the MAGA campaign?
You hear what he said? I mean, if you really think about what he's talking and how he's talking, does he talk like somebody that's saying, let's reason with each other? No, he's talking about, no, I was a ruler and I should have never let you loose. You dog. I mean, basically, that's what it means to me. Now, they talk about manifest destiny. I'm glad they mentioned it. I want to invite you to read this book called Harvest of an Empire. Okay. I'm going to go to page 42. And in this book called Harvest of an Empire, in page 42, we're going to read right here. The toll of conquest. Okay. Excuse me. And it reads, the devastation Cabeza de Vaca warned to still defies comprehension. By the late 1500s, a mere century after the conquest began, scarcely 2 million native remain in the entire hemisphere. An average of more than 1 million people perished annually for most of the 16th century. See that? 1 million per year. In what has been called the greatest genocide in human history. Now, the one that they do put in our face is called the Holocaust that supposedly happened in Germany. Even though this is the greatest genocide or Holocaust in human history. The Indigenous Holocaust on the islands of Hispaniola, which was inhabited by 1 million Taínos in 1492, less than 46,000 remained 20 years later. As historian Francis Jennings has noted, the American land was more like a widow than a virgin. Europeans did not find a wilderness here, rather, however, involuntarily they made one. Then it says here that fewer native perished in English colonies only because the American Indians population were sparser to begin with, yet the macabre percentages were no less grisly. 90% of the Indian population was gone within a half century of Puritan landing on Plymouth Rock. Page 43. What's going on with this here? Page 43. We're talking about lost history, correct? Now, the guy said manifest destiny. What is manifest destiny? It says roots, las raíces. Proponents of the manifest destiny saw Latin Americans as inferior. See that? You, raza, you, my indigenous brothers. Not Hispanic, not Latino. Fuck that shit. Indigenous brothers and sisters. If you hear what I say, then you know who I'm talking to. Because I'm not going to use that Hispanic or Latino word no more. That shit is... Anyways, that's another topic. But here is what they're talking about. Because there's a lot of Latinos and Hispanics who voted for Trump.
Oh, that's gonna hurt!
Am I lying?
Oh, that's gonna hurt!
I'm Hispanic. I wear the red cap. I'm Cuban, B. I'm Puerto Rican, yo. I voted for Trump. I'm indigenous, Native American. I voted for Trump. I'm Mexican. Mexican American, that is. I voted for Trump. Not that I give a shit. Because, quite frankly, it's going to work out the way it's going to work out. But it shows who you are, where your mind is. Our country's Calvinist beliefs reinforce those territorial ambitions perfectly. Americans could point to the nation's prosperity. Hold on a second. Let me drink water. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Let me. Okay. Americans could point to the nation's prosperity, to its amazing new networks of canals, steamboats, and railroads, as proof of their God-given destiny to conquer the frontier. Newspapers and magazines of the day were replete with articles by noted phrenologists like George Caldwell and Dr. Joshua Knott, who pronounced the superiority of white Europeans over Indians, blacks, and Mexicans. To the Caucasian race is the world indebted for all the great and important discoveries, inventions, and improvements that has been made in science and in art, says Caldwell. Let me skip that and just go to the highlighted parts. Wherever in history of the world The inferior races have been conquered and mixed in with the Caucasian. The latter have sunk into barbarianism. See that, family? Even though science shows that the majority of the serial killers, pedophiles, or homosexuals tend to be of a certain nation.
Oh, that's gonna hurt!
And it ain't us. And it ain't black. And it ain't Asian. It's white. Yeah. Sure, buddy. All right, let's continue. Harvest of Empire, page 44. Let's continue here real quick. Also included in 1843 treaty was the crucial 150-mile wide Nueces Strip between the Rio Grande and Nueces River. Keep in mind, family, what this means. You see, this is that belt in the middle of this whole land, in that region, all up and down, right? Call it the Midwest, I think, from Texas up north and down south. There was a massive amount of land and cattle that did not belong necessarily to anybody. Let's read it. The U.S. negotiators demanded its conclusion as part of Texas, despite the fact that Spain, and later Mexico, considered the strip part of Coahuila's province. The Nueces, which is equal in size to present-day Massachusetts, Connecticut, and New Jersey, combined, was especially important because it included fertile lower Rio Grande Valley and because the plains north of that valley were teeming with wild horses and cattle. You see, so all of those white folks that are wealthy now, that have generations of wealth, and their kids talking shit, and supposedly their grandparents and great grandparents fucking worked the lands and shit, and they owned all those cattle, and no, they fucking sold that shit for Mexicans. Indigenous, so-called, or indigenous people, I should say that. So this is what I hate about you guys. This is what disgusts me about your nation. You're so full of shit. The herds, introduced by Spanish settlers in the early 1700s, numbered more than 3 million heads by 1830. Securing control of those herds and of the original Spanish settlers like Charles Stillman, and of the original Spanish land grants in the region, soon produced vast fortunes for early Anglo settlers like Charles Tillman, Richard King, and Mifflin Kennedy. Out of those Mexican lands, the U.S. cattle industry was born, even though the majority of the ranch hands in the industry early decades were anything but Anglo. See that? This is why I keep telling you, oh, my ancestors built this fucking land. This is the reason why I'm trying to show you. This is the reason. I didn't want to do this, but I'll do it now. Hold on. Show you this. This is the so-called vice president. Hold on a second. Let me see. Let's see if I have it. Yeah, this is the so-called vice president of the Anglo lands, of the Anglo man. This is what he said. This is J.D. Vance. Okay? He responds to something somebody said on X or Twitter, whatever. He says, I hate this smug, self-absorbed bullshit. I know I'm right, and people must be dumb or immoral to disagree with me. And he says it's an easy way to go through life, because then you never have to think seriously about why your worldview is a justification for the mass invasion, right, of the country my ancestors built with their bare hands. J.D. Vance, last time I checked, you did a video, or you let some people, pay you to make that video about you on Netflix, and you come from a crack ass house. Your mom was a tweaker cracker. That's what she was. What fucking did your family build? You guys were hillbillies. up in the mountains. You guys didn't build shit. Nobody cared about you guys. You guys cared about anybody else. When you're talking about ancestors built, what ancestors? What are you? Which ones? The Russians, the Germans, the French? I mean, last time I checked, when you guys were over there, you couldn't even agree with each other. This is the reality, family. Got one more to show you. This is on page 45. Okay. Check this out. Now we're moving to Texas. Texas, however, was not the richest prize of the war with Mexico. California was. You see that? Texas wasn't. California was. From the early 1800s, New England sea captains who reached the Pacific sent back glowing reports of that far-off Spanish colony. Let me continue. Within a year, California's non-Indian population rocked from 20,000 to 100,000, overwhelming the original Mexican inhabitants, who numbered only about 13,000, and the territory's several 100,000 Indians. So you see this here. Manifest destiny. Yeah, dude, you can't, seriously, bro. Like, he can't make that shit up, bro. Like, my ancestors built this country. Shut your fucking fat ass up. Your mom was a drug addict, and you didn't too far from there, bro. You know what I mean? You're only a skip and a hop away from falling into that shit. It's the nerve of these people, man. It's funny. I mean, that's worse than what I typically hear from some other people. But here's the beautiful part about my whole point. Ezekiel 47:1. Afterwards, he brought me again unto the door of the house, and behold, water issued out from under the threshold of the house eastward. Now, this is the house of the Lord, so to speak. It's a parable. We're talking about parable stuff, right? So he's talking about a house, and there's going to be water gushing out of this house. For the front of the house stood towards the east, and the water came down from under the right side of the house, the south side of the altar. Verse 2. Then brought he me out of the way of the gate northward, and led me about the way without unto the utter gate by the way that looked eastward. And behold, there ran out water on the right side. So now he's looking, he's in a house. Here, let me simplify it for you guys real quick, because I'm sure some of you guys probably would. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I know you guys understand. But let me read it. Verse 1. The man says water flowing from the temple, the kingdom, right? The house of the Lord, so to speak. And the man was led back. The man led me back to the entrance of the temple. Water was coming out from under the entrance and flowing east. And the direction of the temple faced. It was flowing down from under the south part of the temple, past the south side of the altar. The man then took me out of the temple area by the way of the north gate, and led me around to the gate that faced east. A small stream of water was flowing out of the side of the gate. With his measuring rod, the man measured 560 yards downstream to the east, and told me to wade through the stream there. And the water came only to my ankles. So here we see, because I think it's clear, that there's water flowing out of this temple. So he's asking this man, hey, go and measure it. How high does this water come? And he says to his ankles. Now, let me not lose you guys, because if you remember here, in John 7:32, I believe, I think so, 38. I think it's 38. Yep. Is it 38? It says, yes, he that believeth on me, as the scriptures had said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. So when you look at Ezekiel, and he's talking about the waters being or increasing now, or at least that they're at the ankle, right? This man goes and measures it. Then verse 4 says, again, he measured 1,000, and he brought me through the waters. The waters were to the knees. So now he measured again, and now they're not at the angle anymore. Now it's raised. Now this water is knowledge, wisdom, understanding, heritage, roots. You're breaking ground. You're getting rid of these clods. It's not like it just snaps into your head and all of a sudden you know these things. No, there's work involved. There's self-examination. There's things that need to be done because it's the spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profited nothing. It's not based on your fleshly memory. It's on your spiritual memory. Again, he measured 1,000. He brought me through. The waters were to the loins. So now he went to the ankle, the knees, now to his loins, basically to his hip. Afterwards, he measured 1,000. See that? And there was a river that I could not pass over. For the waters were risen, waters to swim in, a river that could not be passed over. So we're in those times now where knowledge is flowing and it can't be stopped like water at all. So while some people want to deny and maybe, try to distort their own understanding because they just don't want to accept it, well, it is what it is. Now, one thing that I do want to tell you guys, because in Ezekiel 47, verse 3, it talked about the measuring. So now, we read earlier in 2nd Ezra, chapter 9, right? It said that then shall you know that the Lord shall start visiting, correct? Okay, so now, in Ezekiel 40:3, it says this, and he brought me thither, and behold, there was a man whose appearance was like the appearance of brass. Now, remember is Revelation 1:14? This is why people want to trick y'all. Revelation 1:14 says, his head and his hairs were white like wool, and his as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet was like unto fine brass. I'm sorry, Revelation 1:15. Like unto fine brass. Okay? So now Ezekiel 40, the one that's measuring, okay? Keep in mind where we're at. He's measuring. And he brought me thither, and behold, there was a man whose appearance was like the appearance of brass, with a line of flax in his hand, a measuring reed, and he stood in the gate. So we know that there is a time where the visiting will occur. And we need to prepare. At least, I think most of us, the brothers that I talk to, are preparing. Ezekiel 47:9, and it shall come to pass that everything that liveth which moveth whithersoever the river shall come shall live, and there shall be a very great multitude of fish, because these waters shall come thither. The understanding. Remember in I believe, Luke, Matthew, Mark, you can find them in all four. They're fishing. He says, I shall make you fishermen of men, because the water shall come thither. Well, how else would you lead men to want to hear you? Unless you have something that means a lot to them, which means the word of the Most High. Because these waters shall come thither, for they shall be healed, and everything shall live whither the river cometh. Now, remember, whether the river go, right? Where the water is flowing to. And it shall come to pass that the fishers shall stand up in the Engedi, even unto Eneglam. There shall be a place to spread forth nets. Their fish shall be according to their kinds, as the fish of the great seas, exceeding many. But check this out, though. This gets really interesting. But the merry places thereof and the marishes thereof shall not be healed. they shall be given to salt. Now, what does this mean? Verse 11. But the water in the marshes and ponds along the shores will not be made fresh. They will remain there as a source of salt. The marshes and the ponds. The water doesn't flow. The water doesn't move. You got to be mindful why all of this is important to us. Now, for some of y'all that like to kind of hear action every single fucking night, well, sorry, I don't got action today. But for you guys that want to hear some understanding of what this book is saying about us, I have something for you. If you're not in a rush, Psalms 49:11 says, their graves are their homes forever. Sorry, let me read it this way. 49:11 says this, their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and that their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. Now, the reason I share with y'all these other scriptures is because what are you going to do? Take arms and take back the so-called thing that belongs to you? Did you forget about the lost history?
As you know, the plurinational state.
Check this out again. Let me show you guys something. Start here.
This is Democracy Now!, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez. This year marks 200 years since the United States effectively declared all of Latin America and the Caribbean within its sphere of influence. On December 2nd, 1823, President James Monroe outlined what became known as the Monroe Doctrine. He warned other nations to stay out of the Americas, saying, quote, we should consider any attempt on their part to extend their system to any portion of this hemisphere as dangerous to our peace and safety, unquote. Over the past 200 years, the Monroe Doctrine has been repeatedly used to justify scores of invasions, interventions, and CIA regime changes in the Americas. This is Vermont's independent Senator Bernie Sanders talking about the Monroe Doctrine last year, shortly before Russia invaded Ukraine.
Mr. President, Vladimir Putin may be a liar and a demagogue, but it is hypocritical for the United States to insist that we, as a nation, do not accept the principle of spheres of influence. For the last 200 years, our country has operated under the Monroe Doctrine, embracing the principle that as the dominant power in the Western Hemisphere, the United States has the right, according to the United States, to intervene against any country that might threaten our alleged interests. That's United States policy. And under this doctrine, the United States has undermined and overthrown at least a dozen countries throughout Latin America, Central America, and the Caribbean.
That was...
Now, in case you guys are not familiar with this, man, this sphere influence has a lot to do with a word called balkanization. And in case you guys don't know, the scriptures talk about a certain nation of people, Psalms 83, mentioning Psalms 83 and 4, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation. Let's just go over there and make sure they forget who they are. Jeremiah 17 and 4 says, what? And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave to thee. When you have people, because it's not like some spirit doing this whole thing with his hands, it's people. They say into their mind, just like in Sirach, if I'm not mistaken, or Second Ezra, I can find it, when it talks about the spirits, no, not even then. Like, I think it's in First Kings. It's talking about, I'll be the spirit that'll trick them. See what I'm saying? So it's a nation of people that have it in their minds and says, let's cut them off from being a nation. So then they shall discontinue from their heritage. because we want our name in their lands forever and ever and ever. Why? Because it's written in the Bible that we were supposed to be taken over. Supposedly a manifest destiny. Supposedly, right? The first beast. I won't read it yet. Well, let's go back to this thing here.
And promise of military.
We're done with that. Let's go back to this video. All right, we're gonna let it run for a few minutes here, and then we're gonna continue. All right, let's go.
Inevitably provoked retaliation, and then seeking help from the British government with the conflict that they'd started, the king decided to temporarily forbid them from expanding west of the Appalachian Mountains. But the British settler population saw this limitation as an intolerable slight. In the late 17th and early 18th century, European settlers had begun to identify themselves along racial lines. While there were still also divisions along national and religious lines, Western and Northern Europeans were, nonetheless, now considered to be part of a unified white race. This categorization was invented out of the need for a new legal and moral justification for African slavery. Previously within the British Empire, slavery had been justified on the basis of religion. Africans were not Christians and therefore were heathens, and thus it was considered both legal and moral for Christians to enslave them. But African slaves started converting to Christianity and pleading for their freedom on that basis, which posed an obvious problem for the slave owners. So they developed a new method of categorization based on immutable physical characteristics, which would ensure that they could be kept enslaved whether they were Christian or not. Thus, Europeans became white to immutably differentiate them from their black African slaves, denying them any legal means to challenge their permanent, hereditary bondage. This first developed in the British Caribbean, where by the 1680s, laws regulating slavery began replacing the previous term for those on top of the hierarchy, Christian, with white.
Okay, so I don't want to kind of lose you guys in that mindset because you're gonna go on for a little bit. All right, let me do this. I'm not gonna show you guys just yet here. We're gonna start up here, not right now.
This is what I...
My bad. So I'm gonna skip all of this, okay? But let's go back to balkanization. In case you guys don't know what it is. That's not the link, nerd. Sorry, that was part of the video. Let me try this real quick. Maybe that's not the link. Okay, here it goes. Okay, so check this out. Now, here we see, in case you guys don't know who this guy is, it's in Spanish. Remember, this is a bilingual channel. So, you know, if you don't know Spanish, dispensen, güey. That's not my fault. But that's what we do here. The guy's name Alfredo Jalife. La próxima invasión a México fue escrita por un secretario del Pentagon. So I want to show this to you guys real quick so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. This is the lost history. This is stuff that we didn't know. But the more we know, the more prepared we are.
Mira, en el libro de Caspar Weinberger, The Next War, La Guerra Próxima, ya lleva más de 20 años ese libro, te hablo del secretario del Pentágono, habla de la invasión a México.
Show, and if you read the book, you'll see that the activities that the United States did in that Mexican scenario were designed to relieve the Mexican people of very major suffering caused by a guerrilla terrorist kind of activity that had taken over from the regular Mexican government after assassination.
El muro, quien mejor, ahora sí vamos a la mercadotecnia de Trump, él siempre ha glorificado a la empresa israelí Magal Systems, que es la que hace los muros, en cuya tiene parte accionaria el Estado de Israel. Eso tampoco hay que olvidarlo. Y son especialistas en muros, sino que le pregunten a los palestinos, ¿no? En Gaza. en Cisjordania, muros de la ignominia, ¿no?
What he's saying, you see the similarity between the wall or the companies that are building the wall over there in Gaza as the company that's building the walls here. Israeli companies. Really.
Y en México son los candidatos primarios a la construcción del muro.
Sí. Compañía israelí que cercó Gaza busca ayudar a construir el muro de Trump en México, para que vean, cabrones. Then you wonder why I show some of the videos and you guys think that we have no relation to those people over there. Man, you must be outside your fucking mind. Let's continue.
Igual que tienes la empresa Mekorot, que es de Israel, del agua, que son los que quieren privatizar el agua con Korenfeld, ¿no? Que es un felón, etcétera. Entonces, mira, a la hora de las cotizaciones, hay que ver también cómo viene el proyecto.
Can I just share with you guys something? I know that a lot of other people have said certain things about this scripture here. Revelation 13:11. And I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. The book called The Perils of the Republic mentions this. Some people want to supposedly claim that they were prophetic and that they're the ones that figured out that, oh, this means America's Democratic or Republican Party. They only say that because they got it from that book. They just don't want to admit it. But anyways, they don't want to give credit to the white man. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of funny. I, at this point, start kind of thinking about, because, you know, when you consider the Sephiroth and, you know, the whole teachings of these people and how they're so interconnected, right? The two horns, like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. I think, and I was going to show this later on, but I think that's more of this right here, I think. Let me see if hopefully I didn't take it off. Did I take it off? I didn't include it. What, you bastard. Well, I think this is Israelis and evangelicals. They both act like lambs and speak like dragons. You know what I'm saying? That's what I see. Let's continue.
Proyecto de licitación del muro. Porque una cosa es hacer cementos, o colocar cemento, eso es lo más sencillo. Eso no tiene mayor gracia. Aquí la parte israelí fina es el surveillance, la vigilancia, que no es con túneles subterráneos, con sensores muy finos, toda esta tecnología que ellos manejan muy bien y que obviamente no la maneja Cemex. Bueno, Cemex, no puedes perder de vista la relación de Cemex con Enrique Krause. Cemex es la mayor publicista de toda la vida de Enrique Krause en las letras libres, que ni es de él, es la privatización del agua, porque sí se va a aumentar el antisemitismo de Corot.
Here's what I mean by balkanization.
La privatización del agua, porque sí se va a aumentar el antisemitismo definido por ellos a ese nivel, y a mí van a ser más popular.
¿Podría pensarse en una división o balcanización de los Estados Unidos mexicanos?
Mira, yo cada vez que estudio a Netanyahu, desde hace 20 años, cuando manejé el concepto, y a ti te conoce la palestinización de los mexicanos, pues me basé en lo que hacía Netanyahu en Israel con los palestinos.
He said, la palestinización de los mexicanos. The Palestinization of the Mexicans. Hey, listen, they're already sending them to encampments in Salvador. You guys think this is a joke? Let's continue.
Y es lo mismo que está haciendo Trump con los mexicanos. Pero ¿qué siguió? Hoy Israel está propiciando la balcanización de los países árabes. En Irak, en Siria, en Líbano, etc. Bueno, y incluso hasta en Turquía, y ya no siendo árabes, ya a nivel islámico, entre kurdos y a ellos les conviene. Porque eso es lo que sustenta la teocracia y el apartheid de Israel. Mira, yo te doy datos duros del ejército de Estados Unidos, sobre todo de gente muy vinculada a Israel. Por ese proyecto de balcanización hay que tenerlo presente. Mira, en el libro de Caspar Weinberger, The Next War, La Guerra Próxima, ya lleva más de 20 años ese libro, te hablo del secretario del Pentágono, habla de la invasión a México.
Show, and if you read the book, you'll see that the activities that the United States did in that Mexican scenario were designed to relieve the Mexican people of very major suffering caused by a guerrilla terrorist kind of activity that had taken over from the regular Mexican government after assassination.
Y empieza a hablar Robert Kaplan, que él se formó en el ejército israelí, nos guste o no, estaba en una revista muy importante de Atlantic, que incluso tiene mucha influencia con Clinton, con Obama, etcétera, etcétera. Él maneja que hay 3 Méxicos y que México puede ir a su norte, centro y sur, ¿no? Bueno, luego hay Stratford, que es Strategic Forecasting, que es... pero fíjate cómo me lleva toda la pista a Israel. Al final del día, todos los caminos llevan a Israel.
See that? At the end of the day, it all leads to what? Israel. We're Israelis, these fucking Khazars. Isaiah, chapter... Sorry, fam. Got it, hand on that one. Just letting you know.
Stratford, que es Strategic Forecasting, es un centro que está en Austin, Texas, pero manejada por un israelí. Fíjate qué interesante. Bueno, ellos a cada rato manejan la balcanización de México a través de los cárteles. Mira, si tú me preguntas si yo fuera asesor de Trump, pues a mí sí me conviene la balcanización de México.
So what is this balkanization? Let's get to it. Because it's an interesting thing. Check this out. So redefining balkanization. This is from contendingmodernites.nd.edu. University of Notre Dame. It says here in this post, Blanco, I don't want to read that. Well, actually, maybe I'll try it. Branko Sekulik explores the contested history of the term balkanization. The concept has become synonymous with nationalist and exclusionary conceptions of peoplehood. Technically true. Balkanization is a term that did not need much explanation today. That does not need much explanation today. It has dominantly, although not exclusively, become a shorthand in global political, cultural, social, artistic, and other circles for describing the violent process of disintegration of social political entities such as state, federation, union, nation, community, social identity, etc. Blah, blah, blah. That's not the point here. I want to show you this real quick. Nationalism is not an ancient trait of the European Southeast. Rather, it is a classic Western European product, which until the first decade of the 20th century was generally a marginal phenomenon in the Balkan region. So what does this mean? What are we talking about? Here, I'm going to take you something. I'm going to take you somewhere real quick just to get to the point. Go here. Here. That's the word I'm looking for. Right here. Similarly, okay? So we're going to go down. We scroll down a little bit. second paragraph. It wasn't too far off. This is what stood out to me the most. It says here, similarly, in the broader discourse around, hold on. Similarly, in the broader discourse around balkanization, ethnic cleansing also emerges as a defining feature of the Yugoslav conflict. Despite the origin of the practice of the Austro-Hungarian monarchy, ethnic cleansing was a Muslim Ottoman population in the 19th century. The reason I'm showing you this, fam, it's because nationalism, right? Balkanization, feudalism, it's all part of who they are. And they can't deny it. Look, I'll show you this real quick. This is from metmuseum.org. Central Europe, including Germany. Now, brother right here, you had talked about, speaking of Israel, did you know that the Wailing Wall is actually from a Roman fortress? Oh, man. Give me the link and the book, and I will love to read that shit. It was called the Antonia Fortress. So not actually the Second Temple Wall. Give me the book and link. Like, text it to me or some shit. Check it. But you had mentioned about the 1,000 years. I think it was, where was it at? Hold on. There. Right there. So check this out. It doesn't say it here, but I am going to point out some things. Franks, Alamans, Thuringians, Saxons. These are all Europeans. These are the ones that call themselves so-called Americans. You know, they want to bleach their hair still and claim that they're super white, even though they don't look. I mean, they don't have like blonde hair no more and shit. These are those Europeans that supposedly tell our people to get the fuck out of here, even though they're not from here. Okay, so I'm just giving you a history of who these people are. Now, this is one link here. That's not the one I'm really interested in. I'm interested in this one. Wait, it's the same one? Is it the same one, Beto? It's the same one, Beto? Oh, hold on. Central European, including 15. Balkan Peninsula. Here it goes. Christianization. See, a matter of fact, what I'm going to do to get to the point. Here it goes right here. Here's that point right there. The roots of Balkanization. Eastern Europe. 500 AD to 1500 AD. I find it interesting because it literally is 1,000 years. And they call those 1,000 years the Middle Ages. In case you guys don't know. Well, I mean, there's a lot of medieval history. Feudalism, crusades, nationalism. This was the time when the French, the Franks, the what do you guys call it? Hold on, where's the listed? I got a list of names here with you guys. The Franks, the Huns, the Germanics, the Visigoths. This is when you guys were always at war. So for 1,000 years, you were kept in darkness. And that's biblical. It was called the Antonian Fortress. Now, you caught my attention on that, bro. Let me check it. I think you just text. Let me see real quick. Oh, I'll check. I'm gonna check it another day. It's a lot of reading. So you see now And then I also showed you guys a book with regards to the Visigoth history. It's not like it's not uncommon to us. The history of the Visigoths. See? Ruling those regions. Migrations of these people. Goths, Visigoths, Franks, Slavs, Germs, so-called Christians. They implemented the balkanization then, and they're talking about the balkanization again among us. Now, I don't know about you guys, but it's not going to fly this time. You know, it's just not. And I look forward to the outcome. Because I sincerely have faith in the results. Everybody pays. You don't get away with shit. You know? You don't get away with it. There was a lot of murder, rape, destruction, people burned at the stake, people abused. Give me a second. Yeah, my son had a question. My bad. Anyhow, hold on a second. Let me play this real quick. I don't even know what I was saying. My son, you guys know my son, my older son. His name's Eric. He's the one with autism. So he'll come by every now and then. And it's funny because I'm not doing classes I'm not doing classes as much. I don't do lives as much anymore, right? Maybe once a week. But it seems like he chooses those days to ask me to help. It's funny. Anyway, but let's continue. So, balkanization, Middle Ages, manifest destiny. This is who they are. This is why they think the way they think. And now, this is why they call themselves Americans, because they're Germans, they're Visigoths, they're Franks, they're Turks probably too. You know what I'm saying? They're all of that shit. They're all mixed up. You ask any white person that has been living here for a while, their grandparents, great great grandparents, whatever. You ask them, what are they? They're like, I'm French, I'm German, I'm Irish, I'm Italian, I'm this. They're not one so-called seed. They don't know who their father is. That's the fucking problem with them. And that's why they're so mad. Because you don't know who your father is, Mr. White Man. You don't know if you're Irish. You don't know if you're German. You don't know if you're Russian. You don't know if you're French. You don't know if you're British. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you're saying you're American because you don't know who your dad is. You're a bastard. Oof. You're a bastard. That's why you say the shit that you say to us. You want us to feel like we are not connected to our roots, but in reality is you guys are not connected to your roots at all. Those are facts. Because you cannot even go back to your own heritage. Well, my ancestors built this country. Really? Which ones? The French? The Dutch? The English? Which ones? The Irish? Which ones? You see what I'm saying, family? You gotta start asking them. Which ancestors of yours? You know what I'm saying? Let's continue.
In 1845, the writer John Sullivan finally gave this already long-standing colonial ideology the adequate name of manifest destiny. He wrote that it was the USA's manifest destiny to overspread the continent allotted by Providence for the free development of our yearly multiplying millions. The belief that white Americans had a special right to simply take all of the Indian land on the continent had scarcely before been so well put. By 1850, white settlements existed across nearly all of the present-day mainland US, and California, with its massive Pacific coast, was admitted to the Union after being annexed from Mexico. This made the US a truly coast-to-coast empire for the first time. To California's east, there lay just a few more US territories. Just as had happened continuously since the US's founding, these would eventually be incorporated into the Unionist states once their remaining Indian populations were eliminated, removed, or reduced in order to enable more extensive white settlement. Around this same time, justifications for racism couched in the rhetoric of science were gaining in popularity, which very nicely complemented the settlers' already ingrained belief in their innate superiority. From the 1830s onwards, spurred by the desire to further justify African slavery and the continued conquest of Indian lands, many American intellectuals made crucial contributions to these theories. By the 1840s and 50s, they had already been overwhelmingly accepted among white American society. As the historian Reginald Horseman wrote, in the first half of the 19th century, many in the United States were anxious to justify the enslavement of the blacks and the expulsion and possible extermination of the Indians. The American intellectual community did not merely absorb European ideas, it also fed European racial appetites with scientific theories stemming from the supposed knowledge and observation of blacks and Indians. In this era, the popular periodicals, the press, and many American politicians eagerly sought scientific proof for racial distinctions and for the prevailing American and world order. The intellectual community provided the evidence that they needed. By the 1840s, the American theorists on race were providing a massive material defending innate differences between races. These ideas were sweeping all before them in America, and were being used in Europe by those who were challenging the long-established views on the unity of the human race. By the early 1850s, the inherent inequality of races was simply accepted as a scientific fact in America. As scientific racism continued to develop from there, its hegemony would only strengthen in American society, particularly after Darwinist ideas started to be misappropriated from the 1860s onwards by those eager to even further justify what they'd already long believed. By 1851,
Yeah, so we only got 10 minutes left, fam. I'm gonna stop it here. So, by the way, the reason why I wanted to stop it here because I find this topic very
it's
interesting.
already becoming apparent that Indians could not be endlessly
Hold on. Let me go back. Scientific racism. Let's touch on this real quick.
Many American intellectuals made crucial contributions to these theories. By the 1840s and 50s, they had already been overwhelmingly accepted among white American society. As the historian Reginald Horseman wrote, in the first half of the 19th century, many in the United States were anxious to justify the enslavement of the blacks and the...
Here is where I wanted to point something out. Here, in the 19th century, right, so-called intellectuals, white people, consider the Darwinism concept in order for them to feel themselves superior than other nationalities. Like, we understand that, right? It's called Darwinism. Manifest destiny. Survival of the fittest. So I asked this question to you because I'm basically done. White folks are the ones that are saying right now that their population is not multiplying, that they're not having babies. Do you understand what they're saying? White people are not having babies. They believe in Darwinism. Darwinism is survival of the fittest. I think that's how you spell it. Yes. Darwinism, a theory, is a term used to describe a theory of biological evolution developed by the English naturalist Charles Darwin and others. The theory states that all species of organisms arise and develop through the natural selection of small inherent variations that increase the individual's ability to compete, survive, and reproduce. Oh shit. So, if white people are not reproducing, and we are reproducing at a high level, more than any other nation, what is Darwinism saying? Darwinism is saying that it's selecting the superior race, which means you must be deleted. And Darwinism, based on your science, is not wrong. So I don't know why you're complaining, Mr. White Man. Because your dogma, your central dogma of molecular biology, clearly states that based on survival of the fittest, you are not to survive. Sorry to tell you that. But again, this is what I call lost history. Hopefully it was edifying to you. Hopefully these random classes I do make sense. Maybe they can keep you motivated. I'll do my best to keep up.
From Marvel Studios.
I send you down there to kill each other. And
hold on a second, fam. Hopefully what I provide for you and at least show you guys is worth the time and that you guys take to listen into these videos, and then my effort that I put into doing them. You know what I'm saying? So, muchísimas gracias, family. With that, I will let it go. Thanks again. You guys have a good night. Shalom. Hasta luego.
En la Plaza de Reyes, Black Sumenta, Soplón. Yeah. ¿Qué vas a saber? ¿Qué vas a saber tú? Oye, chibolito, faltomé. Pulpín de los pulpines, batería de Rapunzel, de rapeos, de raptos, de lagartos en cuartel. Cualquier la pega de cruel con un viejo coronel. Soy flujo, se me antojó dormirme en el laurel. Elevé mi level con un label y un Faber-Castell. Ya un papel, lo empape con sangre de todo aquel que se jura Nobel y no ve mis trenes en la riel. What's so man? ¿Por qué no sacan la tabua? Juro por mis aguas que no te hablo por las powers. Soy chinchano neto, búscame por Pico Sour y te voy a meter al centro loco como Beckenbauer. Escúchame atento mi bro, que estamos rompiéndole en pro. El negro de Plaza de Reyes como siempre rompe de este micrófono. Que quiere meterle como yo pero no puede meterle taco pro. Si te pensaba que solo era un gallo, déjame decirle que se equivocó. Real motherfucker feeling on the street. Es el Black Sheep, Black Sea Metal de Plaza de Kings. Motherfucker, so bloom.
Nero Luigi, man, desempeño a la victoria para que sepa. Incas Mo, Money Gang Gang, yeah, yeah, Yo también he llorado, gente. También me han desplazado por mi rasgo afrodescendiente. Sí, un perro no habla pero siente. Cuento historias callejeras pa' barrios de delincuentes. Soy un perro que te ladra, que te muerde y que te huele, nene. Soy más que Lele, ustedes para mí son pelele. Con mi jauría todo el día en busca de los cheles. Tengo un perro en fiscalía que nos mueve los papeles y otro en la comisaría para evitar el susto. Muchas veces me han llevado por solo como luzco. Perdón, madre mía, si yo le causé un disgusto, pero en esta vía yo crecí rodeado de perros chuscos. Yo sé que me quieren ganar, yo sé que me quieren tumbar y no pasará porque soy de verdad. Está súper rafina la Dodo Style, metido en latina aprendiendo un style. Yo tengo el style, no mido la raza del perro, yo mido por la lealtad y yo soy leal. La calle te enseña lo que no te enseña la universidad. Salí de ese peña aquí con una seña te tiran para atrás. La calle limeña aquí nadie la tenía, ya nada es igual. Tiene que respetar, tiene que respetar. La calle te enseña lo que no te enseña la universidad. Salí de ese peña aquí con una seña te tiran para atrás. La calle limeña aquí nada le doy, ya nada es igual. Tiene que respetar, si yo soy tu papá. Cinco's mob, negro. Cinco's mob, nigga. Nero Luigi, man. Inca's mob, It's money gang, gang, gang,
Hey, yo. Yango en la maldita casa. Me llaman pa' que les dé al menos una vez al mes. Se metieron al lago y olvidaron que era el mes. For everybody bless. La fama es una puta, me está llamando a las 3. Dile que llame después de las 16 y 25. Volví de la infancia de Abraham Lincoln. Con fuerza ya inco, luchando para salir del rincón. Letra callejera en CD Brinco. Under del under, puede que tu viejo te lo mande. Sale de vez en cuando como el cóndor por los Andes. Mi cuerpo no es de madera como Dandy. Antes que me branden, yo seré el ola que los expande. Aunque esto me pique en la madera, no sirven ni para romper el ticket de un evento afuera. Loco por la carrera, desafían la gravedad. Yo espero tras la barrera y llego con la novedad. Niña, tú solo espera que ya encontré la manera. He visto bastante por querer lograrlo saltando escalones dentro de la escalera. La vida me puso al depósito, yo soy de púlpito pa' que el mundo conociéramos de esta parte mejor interprete que paro de esta cordillera. Sin luz afuera, que el espectáculo es dentro. La calle es mi templo, tiembla el pavimento. Cuando yo me concentro, mis disparos son temas. La calle un poema, se siente desde cuando entro. Y a toditos estos drogaditos que creen que rapean, los regreso al centro de mi balcón. Yo he visto el clon del clon en la misma gestión, pero a la malla no llega el balón. Y para esta pantalla no soy un patrón. Yo ya me sé la cuestión y doy fue por cada renglón. Consciente de la operación del final de Mbappé con la edad de bufón. De Yango en la maldita casa, Plaza de Rey y papá. El Nero Luigi, Black Cimental, hip hop peruano. Rajo en la maldita base.
Quiero pensar, pero no puedo, no. El ruido en la ciudad está consumiendo, wow. Quieren pensar, sin ni siquiera estar al mando. Tanta publicidad subliminal te está matando. Les cuesta decidir por sí mismos cuál es su mando. Publican sonrisas con el corazón llorando. Quieren brillar, pero sin tener que valerse de tener sus ideas propias. Los veo a todos igual, solo son la réplica de la imitación de una triste copia. Obedece, la vida es un suspiro y envejeces. Te dejas distraer por estupideces y pierdes el eje. Te duele por dentro, entonces te creces, pero aceptas mucho menos de lo que mereces.
¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que decís, sobre cómo actuar? Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar y solo así podrás brillar. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que decís, sobre cómo actuar? Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar y solo así podrás brillar. Conserva tu juicio y tu intuición, más activos que el que lucha por lo suyo y no se rinde. Yo ya sé en cuál es mi misión, y es contarte que el mal por su propio pie pronto se extingue. Me no caigas bajo su control, pues por la televisión es normal que mal lo pinte. Tu
Tú mantente firme en conexión con la fuente de creación, vivirás siempre de fin de.
Dios abre los ojos, dime lo que ves. A tus propios hijos matándose por billetes. Niños por cada 2 por 3. Pa' unos es bendición, con otros por su causa pequen. Y yo que intento ser un ser crístico, voy bendiciendo hasta los diablos. Piensan que es cierto el mensaje típico. Dicen que invento lo del engaño. Y mientras lucho contra mis errores, demonios escucho, me ofrecen soluciones. Pero sé que hay un ángel que quiere que mejore. Me dice haz un trabajo interno antes de que lo ignores. Antes que otra vez llores y se llenen los mares de pena y de dolores, ya que en mi mente no caben. La paz no va en un sobre, somos algo importante. Nunca te revelaste y por eso no lo sabes. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que decís, sobre cómo actuar? Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar, y solo así podrás brillar. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que decís, sobre cómo actuar? Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar, y solo así podrás brillar. Me desperté tan cansado, me sentía mal herido de todo lo que he pasado. No me quita lo aprendido, por dentro me he perdonado, pero casi no me olvido. Me desperté tan cansado, me sentía mal herido de todo lo que he pasado. No me quita lo aprendido, por dentro me he perdonado, pero casi no me olvido, no. Todos repiten lo que dice el referente. Discursos vacíos lejos de ser coherentes. De lo que no sabes será mejor que no inventes. Investigues y no te dejes lavar la mente. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que decís, sobre cómo actuar? Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar, y solo así podrás brillar. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que decís, sobre cómo actuar? Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar, y solo así podrás brillar. Quiero pensar, pero no puedo, no. El ruido en la ciudad está consumiendo,
Yeah, man. Oh, respect and love from the world, nigga. Show them. You nigga on a microphone. Can't vaya a the number 15. Rock you in the studio. Bomba, claro. ¿De qué manera sufre el alma cuando alguien se va? No hay medicina que cure esa larga enfermedad. La vitamina de la vida en esta sociedad es tan divina que por nombre tiene libertad. Libérate de la mentira que está por llegar. Mide tu orgullo antes de empezar a hablar. Cierra la puerta a quien no merezca entrar, porque hay mucho que se fue y sueña con regresar. Hablemos en silencio y así no me mentirás. El poder de la palabra muere cuando hablan de más. No me fío de oraciones que se dicen por detrás. Si me miras a los ojos no te mentiré jamás. Que besar por besar es jugar por jugar. Y vivir sin amor es vivir sin amar. Solo queda la fe, solo queda soñar. Ponte de pie, ready para luchar. Some love, I can just smoke and there are some love them. I can just smoke and there are some love. I remember no fire, no girl. Ribby day. Cali with a farmer soul, yeah. ¿De cuánto tiempo hablamos cuando hablamos de querer? Si la mitad lo malgastamos solo en comprender. ¿De qué manera es más fácil aprender? Que nacemos para ganar y morimos al perder. No puedo dejar de animarte, que cuando te caigas debes levantarte. Llegué para contarte que no todo artista muere por su arte. Traigo el honor de un humano con valor que utiliza poesía para respirar mejor. Escribo prosa para vengar al amor y recuerda aquella rosa que tiraron al contenedor. ¿Dónde se quedó el amor? on no microphone forever, never. Tell me, roll some love. I can just smoke and the light, some love them. I Rastafari my life, some love. I remember no fire, no burn. Ribby day. I live with a farmer soul, yeah. Reggae man, a farmer warrior day. Not a really thing. Oh, yeah, man. Y se piensa que la música es un juego, lo lleva claro, hermano. Desde España, internacional, bombo, clack, you, Lego. Not a really easy. No. Pure nigga on a microphone. Hey, tell us what. Tell us anything. Tell if I'm a Rasta feeling on my sin. Hey, more love.
Oye, es nada más y nada menos que el motherfucker Blasphemy de Plaza de Kings. Estos bebés son Big Papo, dude. No sean rebeldes, deje el revolu. Yo no me quede, yo me hospede junto a Belzebú. No me remete, plebe, no soy leve como tú. Si hay algo que no muere, eso es el hip hop Perú. Y pa' estos pericotes traje una chica perica. Atrás te voy a mostrar como dos monstruos los trafican. No trate ni trepe, solo trote, señorita. Que tra, donde la sangre salpica. Se aplica, te explica, replica. ¿Pa' qué? Aplica, practica, suplica, con fe. A mi perro grita, yo lo mataré. Tu madre llora y canta la bandeja. Flow peregrina, chivolo propina, ina. Hacen base, mejor coja vaselina, no imagina mi vida fuera de una esquina. Yo solo quiero más chavo pa' comprar más chilindrina. Gira, que somos puros animales rompiéndote todos los cristales. Repete señales que a ti no te sale. ¿Qué pasa, compadre? Somos naturales. Voy a llenar todas las editoriales. Rate de mi huevo pa' los tribunales. Tú eres un antianal, yo experto en artesanales. Yeah, se me afaga la cimuita, sopló.
Terco 92 B09 está en la casa, barrio. Escucha bien. Así se hace, Yo. Tengo problemas de actitud y poca paciencia. Hablo si me da la gana, nadie me silencia. No quieren aceptar que pa' muchos soy influencia. La voz de los barrios que llega a tocar tu conciencia. Yo sé que muchos quieren llegar a ser tendencia y hacen lo que sea sin pensar en las consecuencias. Es la diferencia, yo mantengo mi esencia y ustedes por pegar han cambiado hasta de apariencia. Y no es que lo diga yo, pero la gran evidencia es que cambian de personalidad con frecuencia. Y no son locos con inteligencia, solo quieren un poco de atención con insistencia. No presumo en nada, hago todo a mi conveniencia. Por eso te doy una sugerencia. Conmigo no busquen competencia, que llevo 10 años ganándole a la vida y lo sabe la audiencia. La firme que ocurrencia, ¿cómo pueden joder sin prudencia? No se dan cuenta que mi experiencia es a base de exigencia. Mi trabajo es con independencia y el de otros de un productor depende de su permanencia. Sigo firme en la resistencia, dándole más rap en el track hasta por correspondencia. Que muchos disques evolucionaron, no es coincidencia. El dinero y la fama hizo que pierdan su decencia. Terco 92, cuando quieras, donde quieras.
¿Cómo? Sí. He aprendido a sobrevivir de las maldades, comprendiendo que nada es como tú sabes. Pa' decir verdad, la lucho a diario. No me critiques, no me justifico, siempre hago lo que predico. Soy de barrio y rico en talento. De una me sacan por mi forma de ser y me acento en el yauca. Mi gente la está rompiendo por ser parte de este movimiento. Quiero saludar a las personas que nunca confiaron en mí, que hoy por hoy se partean cuando me ven venir. Bye bye motherfuckers en estas líneas. Bye bye a fluir. Déjate llevar como hay people in the street. Yo. Déjate llevar como hay people in the street. Hey, 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 oh, yeah. 1, 2, 3 es la torita aquí en la casa, primo.
Yeah, man, real bumbo clock and I City, volume 8. This is the music from the my niggas. Yeah, man. Oh, ribby dim, ribby da. Hey, la 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 la. Human attribute from Black Uhuru Ray. Hey, hey, hey. Broken microphone, mystic lover sound, a dream of soul. Will my head alone, living in Zion, but Babylon. Broken microphone, mystic lover sound, a dream of soul. Will my head alone, living in Zion, but Babylon. Por soñar soñé que todo cambiaría, por pensar pensé, luchar a sangre fría sin perder la fe, viviendo el día a día, más con sentimiento que marcó mi sinfonía. Darle pan al que no puede comer, darle bendición al que sepa renacer. 3000 errores solemos cometer, pero solo un gran hombre los sabrá reconocer. Y me di cuenta hoy de tantas cosas, algunas crudas, otras bastante hermosas. Son los más sabios, personas poderosas, no aquellos bastardos que destrozan nuestras prosas. Es la perdición, mala situación de manchar tu corazón por tu mala acción. Dame una razón para darte mi perdón. Siento que tu alma se consume como el humo de este blon. Derramo poesía, arte mensajero que reclamo cada día. Pretendo ser sincero, más comparto mi alegría con todo caballero que mantenga la presión cuando andamos bajo cero. Sentimientos perdidos con calma, malos actos mancharon tu alma. No pide perdón quien dispara el arma, no sabe que un ladrón se bate con el karma. Broken microphone, mystic lover sound, a dream of soul. Real my head alone, living in Zion, but Babylon. Broken microphone, mystic lover sound, a dream of soul. Real my head alone, living in Zion, but Babylon. Wanna ganja respect from volume 8. My niggas on volume 8, this is key on the studio respect. Alright, alright, alright. Bad boy kills, criminal of sound and rich. Money is a gun for me. Respect the nation. Belong a time like this. Bad boy kills, criminal of sound and rich. Money is a gun for me. Respect the nation. Belong a time like this. Bad boy kills, criminal of sound and rich. Money is a gun for me. Respect the nation. Oh. La 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 la. When I can just smoking from the studio up the on. And when I can just your nigga on the floor. When I live a sound. Oh them, ah. Bye bye rhythm, bye bye sound in traigo gangsta, más gangsta de la zona. Y vengo con la familia gang. ¿Cómo dice? Llaman a Red. Traigo el mensaje puro y crudo para el momento. No palabras vanas que rompen los sentimientos. Lucharé y derribaré los muros del lamento. Pídeme pues te daré los sueños que están muertos. Nunca el demonio dio mensajes de amor, pero tampoco los dio el ángel que nos abandona. Quizás miremos diferente el reloj, pero tu cielo es el infierno donde el amor murió. Political violence, criminals.
Physical redemption hasta que acabe el baile. Typical styling, musical fraile. Muchas las promesas las que se han llevado al aire. Love and love and love. Siente verdad como doy mi corazón. No more, no more, no more. It's a reggae cypher. Feed the world. What time is it? Es de reventar el beat. Throw the tangle in the street. Reggae music on the hit. Romperemos las barreras que crearon para ti. Pues llegaron los señores y la paz de nuevo aquí. What time is it? Es de reventar el beat. Throw the tangle in the street. Reggae music on the hit. Romperemos las barreras que crearon para ti. Pues llegaron los señores y la paz de nuevo aquí.
Fue que me brotaron alas y ganas de volar. En las buenas mi terreno lleno, en las malas solar. Un muro que decorar, mis hermanos me sirven de guía, mi estrella polar. Muerda los hilos, me duele hasta respirar. Solo quiero ver verdad. Sigo buscándome lejos de lo que piensas. Más fácil de lo que crees, el esfuerzo trae recompensas. Vale la experiencia si es intensa. No tires de la cuerda si está tensa. Miraban al ocaso con tristeza. Las estrellas devolvían con grandeza su mirar. Nos vimos floreciendo en la maleza. La belleza de las piezas y comienzan a encajar.
Es de reventar el beat. Throw the tangle in the street. Reggae music on the hit. Romperemos las barreras que crearon para ti. Pues llegaron los señores y la paz de nuevo aquí. What time is it? Es de reventar el beat. Throw the tangle in the street. Reggae music on the hit. Romperemos las barreras que crearon para ti. Pues llegaron los señores y la paz de nuevo aquí.
51, 52, con un micro de bambú. Más vueltas que Passepartout. Me siento en la old school. It's magnetic kung fu. It's a reggae magnatur. Por las almas sonrientes que acompañan a Zazú. En bambalinas y balú. Son rimas de menú. No salida de Benur, pero cálida y del sur. Homie, always lonely, but I feeling like a gangsta. 52, 53, a mí sí me ves venir. Por eso me llaman King, ese fue mi devenir. De marchar o seguir, nunca tuve que elegir. La music me eligió a mí, no tengo nada más que decir. Saifa, Puniga, Loba, Grimble, Fire, Killaman, Smoker, Chusta, Feel Light, Rasta, Child Metal, Kimanes. Original a reggae, Saifa again.
Interna en la villa del pingüino, de los Kalin en la antena y los que se encuentran dormidos zarandean tus emociones cual barril de vino, cosas feas quizás en tus ideas, pero aquí no, yo no atino, disparo sin mirar a todo aquel vampiro que el diente quiera hincarme, bro. Si lo digo, no es para pensar, sino para aclarar lo que de siempre estás pensando. Acaba el tan magnífico, imposible de torcer metal, so start my friend, yo. Reggae warriors again, making connection after connection, my new world, creating the freedom from them, me more. Nanny boy, represent this game.
What time is it? Es de reventar el beat. Throw the tangle in the street. Reggae music on the hit. Romperemos las barreras que crearon para ti. Pues llegaron los señores y la paz de nuevo aquí. What time is it? Es de reventar el beat. Throw the tangle in the street. Reggae music on the hit. Romperemos las barreras que crearon para ti. Pues llegaron los señores y la paz de nuevo aquí.
Falta presentación si existe nivel. Sobreviviendo en Babilonia escribí al papel mis problemas cuando al final pude entender que para ser feliz solo tienes que querer. Que solamente hay una vida y es para vivir. Busca siempre una alternativa para seguir. No dejes nunca que te digan que no es así. Y prende un poco de sativa para estar chill. Ey, superando ansiedades con el humo de gancha. Manchas de un pasado trágico en la cancha. Seguimos siendo fuertes, su mierda no me engancha. Mientras otros esperando a que lleguen en lancha. No matter where you come, no matter where you come from. Solo importa que prestes atención a este sound. Desde the original, kill a man al mando. Oh na na na. Mira, soy un warrior, sonido legendario. Disfruto cada segundo cuando me subo al escenario. Tengo fuego en los labios, sigo cual mercenario. Pasos de gigante y cora revolucionario. Siento que es necesario, suena el reggae en los barrios, para que cale el mensaje y para salvar a los más sabios. Entre mi imaginario, que mocheques bancarios. Si vienes con la mala vibra, mejor bro, cambia tu itinerario. Ya, 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 ya. Cuando ruge el león suena la música real. Venimos con el ya, 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 ya. Sonido de guión es el sonido original. Ya, 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 ya. Reggae de corazón es el que se hace en unidad. Ya, 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 ya.
What time is it? De reventar el beat. Reggae music and the hit. Romperemos las barreras que crearon para ti, pues llegaron los señores y la paz de nuevo aquí. What time is it? De reventar el beat. Reggae music and the hit. Romperemos las barreras que crearon para ti, pues llegaron los señores y la paz de nuevo aquí.
¿Sí? ¿Te atreverías?
¡Venga! ¡Es original! ¡Kimba!
Ella lo baila. ¿Quieres de mí? Origini, todo para ti.
¡Hey baby! Original y originini. Yo no tengo un cromo de panini. Si viene el Kimba lo reventó con el fucking altavoz. Y bien ocurre niga, estoy con el chico para soltarlo bien tranquilito. Es el Kimana, el Kimaneto, porque tiene el ritmo y esqueleto. No vi, ella no vio nada. Cuando suelto ritmo parece en la boca nada. No soy un dragón pero estoy llamaradas. No soy un cabrón pero sueno que te cagas. Original y parecen bandadas de cuervos volando que viene a matar. Si quieres algo del magneto siempre ves buscando un ritmo. Es original. Siempre suena fresco. Lo mejor me lo merezco. No tenemos parentesco, golazos de parece popescu. Ey, original el maneta ha llegado pa' soltar los ritmos sentados. Si quieres algo bueno pues yo vengo de un pasado. Desde lejos, hace tiempo, no soy viejo. Estoy atento, estoy contento. El entrecejo no lo ves, escondí hace tiempo. Original representa de radio, el Netflix de Europa, pa' venir a reventar todos los escenarios y llevarme la copa.
Un aplauso, Gano. De Easy, haceme algo ya para culminar.
Hostia puta, tío, qué bueno.
¿Te dejo ahí mismo ese? ¿O te pongo otro?
Pónmelo del principio, va.
¿El principio, este mismo? ¿O te pongo otro?
Este está bien.
¿Este está bien? Vale. Desde el principio entonces. Ahí va, atención.
Estamos en AC Radio International Real.
Original.
Hemos vuelto a la casa del Real Netflix de Europa. Bombo Clan, dice. Don't stop, everybody don't stop. Llegó el general para prender el club. Hey, sing it boy, then yabada badu. Con mi crew, solo tú, dame luz. Hey, sing it badu. Don't stop, everybody don't stop. Llegó el general para prender el club. Sing it boy, then yabada badu. Con mi crew, solo tú, dame luz. Everything come through. Ooh, girl, think you better. I think you clever. Hey, stay, my fucking on nigga. Hey, girl, think you better. I think alone, my brother. Everybody come on, nego, hace radio, está fresco. Dice, mueve el cadera, mueve tremendo. Suena perfecto, filo becar. Suena perfecto, viene el del ritmo del ghetto. Band the fuck internacional. Hey, nego, the fama, no really nobody. Si mueve el estilo, suena fenomenal. Suena bien guapo que vienen los ritmos. En radio siempre suena fenomenal. Mueve cadera, mueve tremenda. Ese Kimaneto, el rey de la fiesta. Suena guapo, te lo digo, Zacarías. Así que dale, on the freak, nego.
Viven huyendo de la envidia como los niños en Siria de la bomba que le manda el Pentágono. Y todo el día, mamá mía, keeping it mood, that's a real love, man, I never fear, never, no. La travesía de la vida más que misericordiosa y nuestra prosa siempre para favor, no. Tú podrás por mí traicionar a tu familia, matar tu brazo, sangre, si vos sabías, pero yo no. Familia, es el que está a la mínimo. Familia, con almas cristalinas. Familia, Rastafarian familia. Magna White son familia, ya no maniga.
من حالي وشو من حالي هني بالك ربي كبير وربي عالي هو اللي جاي يديني اليوم وباغي سالي ربي يغفر لي ولا دراري خوا ديالي شو من حالي وشو من حالي هني بالك ربي كبير وربي عالي هو اللي جاي يديني اليوم وباغي سالي ربي يغفر لي ولا دراري un sueño donde no había amor se perdía el color de una flor se marchaba lentamente con el sol en el horizonte pude hacer algo para calmar mi dolor y es por eso que le pongo flow viviendo alto siempre Burruco bimba y es que todo por la familia Burruco bimba y es por eso vengo a bendecir Burruco bimba y es que todo por la familia Burruco bimba y es por eso vengo a bendecir Familia es el que está a la mínimo Familia comparte almas cristalinas Familia Rasta Giant familia Magna Boy son familia ya no maniga
Magna Super Slalom, subiendo a nueva escalón Metallic in the salon, esquivo like Sil Stallone Esos stage van del palo, pero bitch no rascan balón Aunque me enrollo nada cáñamo, nunca me paro Aunque van tras de mí, no se pueden medir Buscan el elixir, está metalizado Y es que yo soy así, no van a descubrir Sexy flow y skill con este descaro Su familia necesita de ti, fíjalo Burruco Connection, Antarctic Field, dígalo A mí nadie quería de Paris, día yo Los magnetes han llegado, están aquí, píalo Para soportar el dolor como no imaginas Es la vida en ámbar Aunque creas que no puedes tú solo con la movida Yo llevaré tus bambas Familia Fighting the hate and the media Familia It's original, man Familia Fighting the hate and the media Familia Yo soy un rocket, ellos a brillar Con los míos siempre se lo baila Menea melena, remueve la vaina Aunque agarre fuerte el fruto para que no se caiga Son los magna de Boss Final Con los míos siempre se lo baila Menea melena, remueve la vaina Aunque agarre fuerte el fruto para que no se caiga Son los magna de Boss Final
Dispara millas sin mirar y sin mirar sin asimilar que es la puta herida de tu vida hurgo Los manas de la chatarrilla hacen pa' pillar piltrafillas Tres donos nos pilla y se va con la furgo Te hará falta una pedicura y una cura si se apura Quizás llega la locura de mi turbo Dale vueltas a la partícula, deja ya la mandíbula Quieta que sola llega a Luxemburgo
Niño prepara la compota que la pera pata
Pero vinimos a mejorarla
Pa' hablar por mi familia y tengo autoridad
Saben que no puedo cagarla
Si pones ritmo y los manos les toca cuatro patas ¿Quieres esa vaina va a probarla? Todo aquel en el party donde se gata Guata que el guatan alma
Vive muriendo de la envidia como los niños en Siria de la bomba que le manda el Pentágono Y todo el día, mamá mía, keeping it mood, that's so real Lo es man, never fear, never, no La travesía de la vida más que misericordiosa Y nuestra prosa siempre para favor, no Tú podrás por miedo a traicionar a tu familia Matar tu bro, sangre, si vos sabías, pero yo no
Familia es el que está a la mínimo Familia comparte almas cristalinas Familia Rasta Giant familia
Magna Boy son familia ya no maniga
Bombo cry, sing it cross the line on them Warrior, vengo con los míos magna que life fire them Bombo cry, sing it cross the line on them Warrior, vengo con los manas y saqué life fire them I could stop, shut up on the microphone ballad And let's smoke the marijuana, psycho Buddha bombo clap Bang bang in the street, fire burn it, fill it with Rasta man, I got Illuminati, play the kill Stop, shut up on the microphone ballad And let's smoke the marijuana, psycho Buddha bombo clap Bang bang in the street, fire burn it, fill it with Key Cray is a king, Magnus thing Nobody, no kill them
In a crazy style Chale, no fire them It's a Rasta ganja
Nobody, no kill them
It's a crispy style
Tally, the fire cream It's a Rasta ganja Familia Rasta chai is familia familia. Kikray is familia. Familia, familia. Unego is familia. Familia, familia. Siku, Kimagneto, familia. Familia, familia. Esa que está a la mínima. Familia, familia. Compactar más cristaleras. Familia, familia. Rasta y Zion, familia. Familia, familia. Magna boy que te blasta, manego.
Graba como me desvelo cada vez que sueno con velocidad, clavando la palabra muy bueno. Te das cuenta que luego pleno mi negro no puedo frenar como caramelo muy dulce que lo pulse cada vez que viene que yo voy a rimar, clavando la palabra de un modo perfecto. Te inyecto cada vez que vengo a rimar tranquilo. Tiro el estilo y domino tranquilo. Los ritmos, mi amigo, no pueden frenarme si voy y camino. Cada vez que toda palabra la afino, la puedo grabar muy tranquilo, mi nigo. Vos ves cómo puedo mi bloda no para escucharlo como lo consigo. Estoy tranquilo, mi tipo suena. Mi negro no es un prototipo, es del equipo crema. Eso es buena, como el día. Tratando de llevar para mi hogar todos los días. Toda la vida no es joda, maniga. Esto no es por moda, innova, soy codo y no joda. Decían que podían parar mi rap, pero soy como Martín Caradagian. Carajo, me cago a carcajadas de esos rappers que están hablando bullshit. Mi flow fluye, bullshit. MC, escuche, construye como en Guaymallén, como si fuera el que estaba en Las Vegas. Mi rap navega, Tony Vega, slow de nega. Maneja la mierda nueva y llega, despliega la habilidad cada vez que entrega otro juego nuevo de MC. Así, yo lo hago a mil, nosotros somos la Wii, no podés venir con la Sega, nega. Vos sabés cómo se hace el freestyle, equipo crema, te enseña cómo se hace el trap, ningún problema. Escucha mis temas de verdad, Santi enseñales, clavarle puñales de lírica rap. Energía, solamente quiero tener días, solamente quiero hacer rap y no porquerías, solamente quiero cagarme en la policía. Trae a todas tus musas que vamos a hacer una orgía. Estoy tranquilo con Tizan, no tengo ni Nissan, mis rimas cotizan, te pisan y santifican todo el ritual, hipnotizan. Quien se desliza, como yo en el track, no sé bailar, pero hago breaking, no sé hacer yoga, pero con la droga te hago reiki. No frenan este flow letal, entiéndame la escena, hasta lo hago parar. A veces digo estoy loco mental, tengo que bajar, me pongo medio tosco, me conozco, los pongo a llorar. Sé lo que compongo y lo que pongo porque es calidad. Hiphop de Argentina.com.ar, me voy a cagar en Adrián Suárez y en Tinelli. El día que rompa un récord Guinness y grabe una peli. Mientras tanto mataré a esos sucios, Confucio, no son Machiavelli. Quieren aplicarme Tucio y a Meli, Mita, nadie. Estoy con el Santi, los pesco infraganti en el aire. Nobody can stop me, I'm the real freestyler. Original desde Rosario, vivo en Buenos Aires.
Que toques el cielo, pero no el suelo, sí que créetelo. Quítate el velo velozmente, bro. Vívete tu sueño, pero despierta a la hora que toca. Esa hora, motherfucker, wake up.
Yo me meo en tu cubata, antes bebo, matar ratas son tan. Vaya al bosque a lo Tarzán mientras enlazan. Fraternidad en casa con su polo colistera estrenan. Se han dejado en el desván de su pensar un mar de ideas. Son grandes ideas ardiendo en chimeneas antiguas. Ríe Dios al ver que te santiguas. Su mente y su luz son ambiguas como mi voz. Lo que para ti es un don, para mí una misión fija. Mis versos son de ninja, tu poesía pa' pijas. Que no te fijan, caen más allá del cristal. La matriz hipnotiza, mi energía os hace trizas. Yo en mi nave nutrida, comiendo pizza con piña, moldea taroides, córtices. Con mi mente arborescente, junto con isesimilos para crear pegasos en ese perro. Cánticos lemurianos me hacen sentir como en mi hogar. La noche se avecina y se afilan colmillos de vampiras psíquicas. Frecuencias del malestar las alimentan. Nuestro deber es tenerlas raquíticas. Bazooka espacial enlatada con la función del sol central, causando desinformaciones bíblicas. Todo lo existente es relativo, o al menos la materia que te describo.
buena anemona, gárgola, Andrómeda eres.
Conserva tus células primigenias o no podrás volar. El virus se llevó a unos cuantos, pero el ego a más. Se elevó el más a la opulencia. Digo, ciencia, ande bajo el Satanás en el espejo. Jesucristo, la conciencia del flash. La tierra y su paz están vibrando. Los sentimientos son la trampa que están manejando. Los hilos de los cuales tú y tu ego estáis medio colgando. No es que yo sea un superdotado, ni tú un tonto. Solo lo que tú sabes de mierda yo sobre el cosmos. Que los tuyo y profundamente sano me lo tomo. Si no ya hubiera ido a visitar al doctor. Porque no soy devota, mucho menos un santo. Yo jamás voto, pero dale que asalto. Cuando en verdad sé que tendría que sudarme todo la polla. Pero pienso que hay que vivir por algo. Que en el letargo cure lo enfermo. Sabor amargo, remedio eterno. Me pregunto a toda esa gente que le he hecho. Y canalizo desde el cielo un verbo al cielo, bro.
Ical, hijo, abre los ojos. Tu cuerpo se queda con nosotros, pero tu espíritu debe seguir. Busca la luz. Aléjate de las sombras. Deja que nuestro dolor sea tu fuerza. Desde aquí iluminamos tu camino. Lucha como nosotros ante esta pena tan grande. Yo soy tú. Tú eres yo. La muerte que hoy nos separa, mañana volverá a unirnos. Eres libre, hijo.